We're so excited to bring in our guest right now. Really, really excited. I'm going to bring him in right now. Hi.
Hey, what's going on? How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Can't complain. Got my voting mask tissue right here. Where we at?
No, I'm super excited about having this conversation. My screen froze. Hopefully you can still see me.
Yeah, we're good to go.
Okay, nope. Now, okay, it came back. All right. Technology, guys. But no, for everyone who does not recognize the amazing, amazing person on my screen right now, Ruben Lael. Ruben is just really an advocate, in the Dallas area. Ruben has always been an advocate for voting rights. You're a leader, you're an influencer, I would even say. Ruben serves as the National Communications Chair for DFW Urban League Young Professionals. But you also, you're really talented. You're not just, an advocate, but you're in the music industry. And I've watched your stuff on Instagram, so please check him out on Instagram also if you haven't done so. But
please,
you really have a unique talent, kind of bridging, people together through music and God, and you deliver to encourage listeners to believe and just kind of never give up on their dreams. So I'm so excited to be talking to you today, and thank you so much for taking your time. So, early voting has kicked off on October 13th. 2 days ago. What have you been seeing so far with voting locations right now?
Man, I am seeing lines on top of lines from the morning, noonday, and night, and I'm excited about that. But I think that is a testament to all of the work that everyone has been doing to really increase voter turnout just overall. So your mama, your uncle, your auntie, everybody is at the polls. Call your friends. We want to do this together. Arrive with 5 is the new thing that I'm hearing around town now, is arrive with 5. So plan to vote and plan to take somebody with you.
Got it. So a lot of people out there. We love to see the lines. Before we just dive more into the voting section of everything, for people who are listening right now and do not know the work of DFW Urban League Young Professionals, can you explain what it is and why you're part of it?
Right. So the Dallas-Fort Worth Urban League Young Professionals is part of a national organization, the National Urban League, which is an affiliate organization across the country. Our CEO is Mark Moriel, and it has a young professionals component, which is called the National Urban League Young Professionals, where Ray Shackelford is our president right now, and I serve on his executive leadership team as the communications chair. I joined the Dallas-Fort Worth Urban League chapter in 2015. So the organization is about advocacy, it's about economic empowerment, it's about community outreach, it is also about civic engagement and really empowering young professionals across the country. We have over 65 chapters across the country, and it's amazing to be a part of this group of this powerful young professionals who are on the move and who are committed to seeing change in our communities. Yeah.
People who are really committed to see change. I think that's amazing, and it's just a testament about what your work is all about. And you joined it, you joined this amazing group in 2015, and it is 2020. What have you seen for this organization? How has it grown in the 5 years you've been a part of it?
The organization has grown in leaps and bounds. I believe we're over 300 members in the Dallas-Fort Worth Urban League. I would not want to quote us on a national number because that number is growing. We've seen an increase in our followership on Instagram and on Facebook, and just really getting buy-in from young professionals across the country to really just get engaged and to make a contribution to this movement, because that's what's different. It's now our turn, it's our time, it's our moment, and we got to step up to the line and see some change.
It exactly is your moment. So how does someone become part of the moment? How do you join?
Okay, joining is very, very easy.
Okay.
I am a national officer, but right now I am going to shout out to my local chapter here in Dallas. It's $75 for the entire year. And we do a lot of different community service projects. We are also in the middle of trying to support different business owners during the pandemic. There's a relief fund. We just celebrated an extremely award-winning amount of contributions during North Texas Giving Day. Shout out to Trey Talley, Bennett Machesha, Javon Bosdale, Courtney Cross Johnson, Jessica. I'm gonna start Crystal. I'm gonna start doing a whole bunch of names, but shout out to all of the amazing leaders on the executive board right now: Sean Reed, Danielle Wells, Jay Nicole, everyone who has really just really gotten behind Dallas Fort Worth Urban League Young Professionals and really made our voice amplified. This past week, we actually just had YP on the road where we had different candidates who were sharing their platforms. So this organization is definitely on the move. It's open, it's in the forefront, and it's here to serve and here for you as young professionals to become a part.
And you're part of the conversation. You're really engaging one another. And I love that you shouted out everyone, because it doesn't just take one person. It takes a group of people to initiate change. And I absolutely love that about DFW Urban League Young Professionals. So what is next? Where do you see the Urban League Young Professionals going?
The Urban League Young Professional movement is taking the lead. That's what I would say. When we think about just the season that we are in right now in terms of what I call the phase 2 of the civil rights movement, it's the same movement. Definitely a tribute and shout out to the Black Lives Matter movement, which is the new fire, but it's the same movement. It's the same mission. So the National Urban League Young Professionals movement on the national level and on the local level is now ready kind of to take the lead, especially in lieu of, civil rights heroes like John Lewis, who are now, passing the torch to us. Now I can't say it anymore, but it's our moment, it's our time. And if we want to really see change in our communities, we're going to have to step up and we're going to have to be vocal.
Exactly. Being vocal like John Lewis, so many influential people kind of paved the way, and you're getting the baton to continue the movement. How does that make you feel, though, as a Black man, that we're still having these conversations about police brutality and Black lives that should matter and need to be mattered in the community?
Yeah, it's a catch-22, to be completely honest with you. On one hand, you're proud. I think that's what's motivating us is we look at all of the wins that we've had, all of the first African-American males in these positions and African-American females in this position. Right now is a historic moment with the vice presidential nomination. So, that's one balance. We're proud of the work, but then it's another side that says, you know what, in all of those successes, we would hope that we would be further along, and or some of the tragedies, injustices that we continue to see would come to a stopping point. And I think that's the threshold of the pain. That's the threshold of the, disappointment, whether you're a kinfolk, or ally, right? So you got to find that equilibrium of hope and joy and peace, because you got to keep the right energy, and I heard something recently, not only keep the right energy, but increase the energy. We got to keep going, so once you kind of get past the balance, you got to find that peace and that hope and that joy that just keeps you faithful and committed to the cause.
No, finding allies is so critical for you to be uplifted and motivated and inspired on why you continue to be part of this organization. And it seems like you have that kind of group, just everyone who's surrounding you. And I applaud you guys for continuing that mission.
Thank you.
So let's talk early voting. A report came out saying the highest number of ballots cast was from ages 56 to 64, and the lowest was basically in the range of 18 to 24.
Yep.
Thoughts on that right away?
I've shared this in different forums, and I think that's why you've seen organizations like the National Urban League Young Professionals and all of the local chapters across the country, from New York to Florida to LA to Phoenix, just really rise up. But because we know it's our generation that needs that extra push. We can depend on the baby boomers, we can depend on Generation X, but really it's our generation, it's the millennials that are having to move to a new level. And these are my words, right? A new level of maturity in the fight, right? So when you don't get what you want, you still have to continue to participate in the process until you see the seeds and the fruit of your labor over time. You know, when we think about other races outside of the presidential race, we really have to focus on those candidates that are running and the platforms that they're presenting to us, because that would keep us out of a situation in terms of what's happening in the Supreme Court right now. So we have to continue to be astute, and we have to continue to be engaged. And hopefully, like an event we're having this weekend called Pat the Polls in Dallas, hopefully this is a tool to help motivate and reshape the narrative, right? We got to reshape the narrative of why we vote. It can't just be about, I vote when I see that I get what I want in return. No, we have to vote because it's our right, it's our duty, and that's our responsibility to everything and every person that we say we're fighting for, right? I saw Black Lives Matter, you know, vote because I can. It is exactly that simple.
I hope it was that simple, because some people are still on the fence. I mean, I just mentioned about the report that is so low for the younger generation. What encouraging words can you give to someone who is part of Generation Z and is a millennial right now, and why they should head to the polls?
Right. We have to think about our future, and we have to think about our kids. I'm a single man, and I'm still out here just looking for the right one. But when I do, I want to make sure that my children and the family that I build can grow up in an America that makes sense. I think we've had the shock of our lives in the last 5 to 10 years to see that the results or the response to the work of the civil rights movement in terms of what America has said is still in the same spot that we've been in for the last 50 years. And I hate that. But truthfully, if we want to see change, because we've made progress, we've gotten like-minded people to the table. They are in office. They are on boards. They are on coalitions. So we have seats at the table. Now is the time. Find a mentor. Find somebody who's already doing the work. Don't start from scratch. That has probably been one of my biggest tips, you know, to high schoolers, to Generation Z and Generation, you know, all of us, you know, millennials. We gotta get connected to the work that's already being done, because it's heavy. It's a heavy lift. And so we got to look at all avenues. You know, if you got to do a caravan to the polls, do that. If you got to do text banking to all your friends, you got to do that. But find a place to get connected, and let's make our reason for voting about us and our future. Let's not just make it about what this one organization is working on, or what this one personality or, you know, profile is working on. Let's make this about us. And that means that we're going to have to want everybody to win in America. That means my brother, my sister, to my left, my right. Listen, dark skin, light skin, all skins. Listen, this has got to be about us. And if we could get there, then I feel like we could really mobilize the vote, and really get millennials to engage like we've never engaged before.
Everybody needs to win. Everybody needs to have a seat at the table. And that, Ruben, that is what exactly you are doing. And, you know, you mentioned something really important of like, why reinvent the wheel? There's so many things that has been laid out for us. Let's just kind of tweak it and make it ours, put our brand on it. So a lot of honking, car honking, and screaming is going to be happening this weekend. People are probably like, what am I talking about? But you are having a caravan this weekend, Pat the Polls event. Why did you decide to put it together?
We decided to put this together in July for the primaries. We had to be creative. You know, what you were just saying was important. Typically, in a season like this, we finish voter registration. Now you got to go into phase 2, and that's voter mobilization. So if you old school, my mother has been an elected official in the Garland Independent School District since '98. So when it's voting time, it's time to hit the streets, right? But of course, because of COVID, we weren't able to do that. So we created this creative idea to get in our cars, and instead of going door to door, we're just gonna go street by street, honk our horns, make some noise in South Dallas, in Pleasant Grove, in Oak Cliff, and Cedar Crest area to really mobilize these communities that have been disenfranchised, these communities that may not believe their vote matters, and these communities that really need a new energy and a new storyline behind why they should get to the polls. I'm a teacher at OW Homes, and right across the street is the Keith Dunbar Library. And Tuesday was packed. Yesterday was packed on my way here. Today it is packed. We have 2 weeks of early voting. So Friendship West is having a pack the polls. They're having a ride in. I think it's today. Not My Sons and Next Generation Action Network, they're on board. They're doing work. They had a march to the polls, so they'll be doing that. The DC3 in DeSoto is doing a ride to the polls because they're a polling site. Friendship West is a polling site. So it's starting to spark some fire across the city, and this is just our new response to being resilient in this pandemic and making sure that we get the right person and people in office in November.
You are definitely lighting the fire. The match is to the fire. It's flaming right now. And so for everyone, watch out for the honking. Please put it on social media and really promote them when they are driving by your house or wherever location you are right now. I just got a comment in the box of saying, but how do you keep the momentum going? How do you continue to have that fire blazing hot right now in Dallas?
Well, it takes some sweat equity. I'll be honest with you. This is grassroots. It's not paper pushing. It's not really pretty. You really have to say, I'm going to text people in my phone and make sure that they voting. I have to, reach out to my pastor or reach out to leaders in my organization and make sure, see what the protocol is, make sure that everything is in alignment and nonpartisan, right? And make sure that we're just encouraging people to vote. Civic engagement is oftentimes not about your individual ballot more than it is about the culture and the democratic process, right? And when we think about all of the barriers that we might encounter during this election, voter suppression and different challenges that might be, I would say, a hindrance to those who might want to vote during this election. We just have to go above and beyond. I think we did see an influx in the first couple of days of early voting. If we keep the conversation going and if we continue to let our voices be heard, I think the momentum will continue.
No, there's definitely a lot of chatter. What we've been seeing on social media and all these platforms, people using hashtag. So let's look at Georgia. The lines were about 5-6 hours long. That is crazy. We saw people actually bringing the picnic baskets, like Michelle Obama advised, bringing out the fold-out chairs. Like you said, bring 5 friends. Jamie Foxx even put out a video to all the Texan people saying, talk about the Cowboys, talk about the Texans, talk about anything. Start having conversations while you're in line because we have to vote. When we look at Virginia, a cable was accidentally cut to apparently, and the registration online went down. From these incidents or situations, do you think this kind of, have people want to vote more, or do you think people are just kind of turning around and saying, I'm hopping in my car and forget this?
I can't say this early in the game. It's day 3, right? But I have thought about that, and the truth is, it's what we've heard from this next wave of how we vote and to plan to vote. So I'll be honest, I had 3 attempts before I actually got in the line. I thought it would maybe be 20 minutes and then maybe it'd be, in and out. I tried maybe 2 polling spots. I'm being completely transparent, but it was my plan and my goal and my intent to vote. And so I had to switch it up. And I think if people look at their schedule, they look at the polling sites, you can vote anywhere in Dallas County right now. That is, you may not have a straight ticket to vote in terms of the ballot, but you can vote anywhere in Dallas County. So switch it up and just find, maybe there's a polling spot at your house that you can hit first. Maybe you need to go to your house, not your house, but your workplace, and vote near your workplace. Maybe you need to find where your child's school is. If you're not doing virtual and you're dropping them off, fine, maybe you can vote there, and give yourself about an hour. Georgia, that does it stream. I think, this is where we have a different conversation in terms of election clerks and election judges. There's a whole conversation, because the more election clerks and judges we have, the more accessibility we have to polling booths and stations and just the fluidity of that process. So that may be where we see a little backup. But truthfully, we need people to plan to vote, pick the day, put it on your schedule. Obviously, everyone needs to block off 2 to 3 hours. So let's get it done.
Literally, like it's an appointment, a hair appointment, a doctor's appointment. It should be no different. Having that plan in place will be really beneficial, and there should be no excuses. So speaking of excuses, you had put on your social media, you said, no more excuses, just step up the line.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
So that's a lyric from my song called Stand Up that I released a couple of weeks ago. I've been working on it for a long time, and the season just came, and I said, okay, it's time to release it. And there's that line for me is the closer line to the second verse. The lines before it said, exercise your power, manifest your dream, sound the alarm. We gotta let freedom ring, because we are the movement, and now is the time. No more excuses. Just step up to the line and stand up. So that's what we're doing when we go to vote. So for George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, Atiana Jefferson, and many names, too many names and hashtags that we should have to name. Breonna Taylor. It's just too much to really even dive off into, and I'm getting. I'm starting to feel just a little bit by saying their names, So Jonathan Price recently. It's just there's too much at stake for us not to take this moment and stand up. And I wish the standing that we've done in the 60s and the 80s and the 90s and the early millennial would have been enough, but it's not. But enough is enough, and we're tired of being sick and tired. So we gotta stand up, and we gotta put people in place who share our perspective. If this is your passion work, if this means something to you, if you know anyone, or you yourself, your family has been impacted, by any of these injustices that continue to plague our communities, and it just doesn't have to be the loss of life. Right? It could be the loss of job and having the next career opportunity. It could be the loss of education because the school in your community wasn't well equipped, to support you from pre-K all the way to 12th grade. All of these issues are what we are voting for on the ballot, and we have to stand up. John Lewis made sure that we had some way to stand up for ourselves. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. There's a ton of names we can go through. If we are going to live on their legacy, I'll even throw Nipsey Hussle in there. Mm-hmm. If we're going to stand on their legacy, every generation, from generation to generation, we got to vote and stand up in this election.
You gave me chills from, you don't have to tell me any knowledge or give me a message. And I hope everybody listening, please take, your wisdom, because literally you voting is passing, like you said, continuing the legacy on why so many influential people literally spent years to fight for us to be given the right to vote. For instance, NBA superstar Shaq, he just released saying that he never voted ever in his lifetime. When we look at, the candidate President Obama, first African-American president ever, and you're telling me that you never voted in that election? That's crazy to me, but hopefully this time around, he's, going to change. But when we look at transportation, so many people are getting involved, and I see that you're an advocate for DART. For everyone who doesn't know what DART is, Dallas Area Transit, and they are offering free rides for October 17th and October 24th. And also on Election Day. That is amazing that they are getting involved with all of it. So there's no excuses whatsoever.
No. And when you're ready to get moving, DART is committed to making sure that you can do it easier, safer, and faster. They have installed cleaning processes that happen between rides, at the end of the lines, overnight and over the weekend. So they're really going above and beyond to make sure that riding on DART is safe. And if you see something that's unclean or something that's not safe, they want you to say something. And if you want to find out more information about the DART process, the protocol that they put in place, as well as the rides to the polls, which are going to be on the weekends, right? This weekend you can get a ride. Next weekend you can get a ride. Sunday is Souls to the Polls. So if you don't have a ride, definitely turn to DART. We also have other organizations that are also providing rides to the polls. So like you said, there are no excuses to why you should not find your way somehow to the poll.
No excuses. You have a ride, you have a friend, you have your mask, you have your hand sanitizer, should be all ready to go to head to the polls. Yeah. But you know, going to the polls have been so many mixed emotions. For instance, known journalist Roland Martin, he pulled up to Friendship West Baptist Church, and it went viral. His post was on the Shade Room. He literally was crying just because he saw this on the first day of early voting. He saw a massive line outside, and especially people that look at us, African Americans or below minorities. Why do you think it's so emotional to just see the turnout?
Because we're proud. We're proud of this moment, and it's the fruit of our labor. We have been, and Roland Martin especially. Shout out to A5A in the room. I had to pull it out. Ice Cold Brothers. Okay. Shout out to Dallas Alphas, Fort Worth Alpha, Arlington Alpha, Ronu Lambda, Zata Lambda, all of the Divine Nine. Shout out to Rod Shavers. He's the Panhellenic Council President for Dallas. But definitely, we're proud. This is the fruit of our labor, all of the work we've been doing, the voter registration. And, you know, sometimes you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. But if that horse ever drinks that water and they learn, you know, here's another analogy. You can buy your friend some fish, but if you take him fishing, he can fish for himself. So when we start seeing people fishing for themselves and making it their priority, bringing their kids with them to just show them what it feels like and what it looks like, bringing their brother or their cousin who may be like Shaq and never voted a day in their life, you know. And if I could speak to that, you know, just real quick, we don't need to be ashamed about anything right now. And that may be why Roland Martin was crying, because, you know, emotions are so wide in this space for us as Black people. It just is. The trauma we've endured, the trauma that has been passed down from generation to generation, like, it's just a lot, you know. So don't be ashamed if this was your first time registering. Don't be ashamed if, you know, because I had some friends hit me up and I felt like they hit me up privately and I knew they were hitting me up privately. And I was okay with that because it wasn't about scolding them for what they hadn't done. It was about celebrating what they were doing now and what we're going to be able to achieve together moving forward. So for those who this is your first time, you be proud to be in the line. And if you get emotional and you shed some tears, hey, you shed them tears with joy, because that's exactly what it is. It's joy.
Yeah, no, I mean, we've endured so much from, you know, this year alone, from police brutality. We are in a pandemic, remind you. I mean, there's no vaccine out there. There's a lot of conversations that are happening, and it's a lot. It's heavy on us. So when we do show up to the polls and we see so many people out there, it means, Ruben, like you said, your message is getting across. Your work is valuable. Your work is actually resonating with people. And Ruben, I applaud you so much for everything that you have been doing. Is there any other final words that you want to tell people? Or what about how do you get involved to Pack the Polls event for Saturday?
Definitely. To sign up and register for Pat to Pose this weekend, pattopose.eventbrite.com. You can sign up. We're going to be loading in at 8:30. We kick off at 9 a.m. We're going to be at Fair Park, gate number 2. All right. It's off of Haskell. So at Fair Park, gate number 2, meet us there at 8:30. We'll be kicking off at 9 a.m. to go into our communities. One of the sites is the Skyline Branch Library. The other site is going to be the Martin Luther King Jr. Community Center. And come join us. And even if you're unable to, please arrive with 5. Go to the polls with somebody. If it's Sunday, if it's Monday, plan the vote. Keep the energy up and just continue to keep fighting on and fighting strong, because guess what? We are in this thing together, and we're gonna see what the end is gonna be. All right. So stay hopeful, stay healthy, and stay happy, because we are in this work together, and God is gonna see us through.
And keep the fire going. Ruben, thank you so much. Your voice matters. You matter.
Thank you.
Your vote matters. So thank you.
Thank y'all for having me. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you for taking your time. Ruben, one last question. Where can people follow you on social media?
Sure, you can follow me on Facebook at Ruben Lael. That's ReubenLael, or on Instagram at Ruben Got Soul, ReubenGot Soul. And definitely check out my new song, Stand Up. It's really powerful. I love it. Stream it on all digital platforms.
Thank you so much, Ruben. Have a nice day.
Thank you. You too.